Hello, and welcome to Watchman of the King channel. My name is Dan, and I'm going to reintroduce the channel. I've been offline for probably a couple of years now. Yeah, 2 years. I think my last video was back in November 2023. The very first thing I want to do is, I want to say hi to all my loyal subscribers. Those who just kind of stuck in there and waited. It wasn't my intention necessarily to be off for as long as I was. This channel started as a current events type of news channel that was related to the Bible. Then it morphed kind of, by the prompting of God. I basically started praying and listening to where he led me each new video. Because I realized that I was also putting in front of you all a lot of the news reporting that other prophecy channels were putting out there. So I also stopped because I felt led that I had come to an end of the topics that God wanted me to cover, and that people who needed to see them would continue to find the channel, which they have. I've paid attention to views, and there's a pretty consistent viewership, 30 or 40 per month or so of various topic videos. So, I knew that the videos that God needed to be in front of people continued to be viewed. So, anyway, I'm pausing a lot. It feels like I'm new to this again. And so you're going to see a much different format on this channel. I'm going to do something much different than I did before. And this is where I'm going to reach out to all of you who subscribe, and anybody who's a new subscriber. I'm going to ask for prayer. Please pray for this channel and for God's leading. I'd also like you to go ahead and put suggestions in the comments on what you'd like to see, or where there maybe is a need for content in the Christian prophecy community. I mean, there's a lot out there. There's a lot of really good information out there, but I'm seeing a lot of really bad information as well. So please pray for my channel, and also give me suggestions on what you'd like to see. There is a thought that if viewership increases, or there's a need for yet another live stream out there, that I would start to put together a schedule to go live. I've not thought to do that before, but I put that in my notes, and I figured I would discuss it with you and basically say, hey, what do you guys think? Okay. Now, some of the things that you're going to see change in this channel is, one, I'm going to do less edits. I'm going to basically record and then put it out there. If live happens to happen, then that's how it would be anyway, flaws and all. So I'm not looking to be a spectacular YouTube content creator for, Bible prophecy or anything like that. I'm looking to just make videos that I feel led to make, as well as content that God puts on my heart. And if we start getting into live streams, then who knows where this could go. Obviously I would probably take questions and we would deal with that. So let's acknowledge some of the things that have occurred since the last time I made a video. And it's more than just my hair growing back. It's obviously the war in Israel had just started. I thought that it may lead into the Psalm 83 war, but I didn't want to continue making videos just making presuppositions that is where everything was headed. I didn't want to just assume that when the 12-day war with Iran and everything that occurred in that situation was necessarily Jeremiah 49 and breaking the bow of Elam. I think that's still yet to happen. I also think that Psalm 83 is yet future. And here's why I say that, is because there is an inner circle of enemies that is still there. Whereas by the end of Psalm 83, it seems like God has absolutely taken care of that inner circle of enemies. Now, we're seeing something completely different on the stage, and we're seeing this peace process being put forth from Donald Trump, and Netanyahu has agreed to it. They're waiting on Hamas, but that leads me into, obviously we had a changing of the guard in world leadership because of our president's presidential elections. So, that was another thing on the world stage that happened while I stopped making videos. Another thing that happened, I'd say last year in this, was the rise of AI. I'd have to say that it has taken leaps and bounds, extreme jumps forward from where we were 2 years ago. The reason why I say that is because I'm in tech. That's what I do. I've been doing it for going on 20 years, maybe a little longer. 25 years now. And so, just paying attention really closely to what is happening with AI and how I believe that will eventually become the image of the beast that the false prophet is able to put forward. I'm sure this community has seen a lot of that information. Most of you probably keep up with a lot of the folks that I keep up with, which is also why I didn't feel necessarily led to continue with videos this whole time. But I felt like it was time for me to reintroduce the channel and start checking in with where there might be a need. Because another thing that occurred was the assassination of Charlie Kirk. That happens to be a really big deal in the prophetic community, and here's why I say this. I absolutely believe it is a further separation of the wheat from the tares, and it's exposing a lot of the wolves that are within the church. We saw, COVID do that. We saw Black Lives Matter do that. I'm saying all kinds of keywords that could get this channel flagged, but and we'll see if I have to change my verbiage. But anyway, again, I think that really showed where true believers are sitting. It also is something that, we need to address. Where is this biting nature that Christians have against each other that when we disagree? Another thing that has come and gone was a massive rapture prediction for Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Trumpets, that just passed. We're heading into Yom Kippur now, but based on somebody's dream or vision, it absolutely exploded all over social media. And where did that leave us? It put a whole lot more scoffing out there, a lot of laughing at Christians who believe in the Bible literally, and that leads me into what is the main thing here. When you're watching someone, when you're learning from somebody or following somebody on any social media, or you're in a church, or, and dealing with the pastor, what the main thing is, how do they look at Jesus? What do they believe, and what do they teach about Jesus? And I'm talking about Jesus of Nazareth, the one who was born in Bethlehem. I'm not talking about just some feel-good Jesus that's preached from a pulpit to maybe make you feel good about what you did yesterday. I'm talking about the God of heaven who took on flesh, came to this earth, who lived and taught in a people group that is under extreme persecution today, and was crucified, one of the most brutal deaths known to us. Died and came back to life 3 days later. So, what do they deal with him? How do they handle him? Do they teach that he is God? And that, like John says, he always was, and he is the Word. He was there in the beginning. So if they're teaching the proper doctrine, then why are we biting at each other over smaller things? And I used to do that a lot too. I used to really get on a soapbox and stand on my beliefs, based on my logical reasoning and thinking through the Bible. And doctrine does matter. Getting things correct about what God has put forward in His Word does matter. But before we start attacking each other, we need to figure out what the other person believes and what they teach about Jesus. That's the only thing that matters. Because I'll tell you what, regardless of their view on the rapture, regardless on if they are pre, post, amillennial, any of that stuff, if they believe in Jesus, they're coming with. I used to wonder if that was possible. I used to, not be sure as well, based on various verses and things like that. Like, if you are not actively watching and waiting, are you really going to go? Well, if you believe in Jesus, you will be saved. And so, do you have the right Jesus? And are you in His Word? Because that's another thing. If you believe in Him, you're going to listen to Him. The only way to listen to Him is to get in His Word. And I'm not just talking about red letters. You need to understand the entirety of the book, because He did say He came to fulfill everything about it. Everything is wrapped up in Him. So that's something that you also need to make sure that you understand. That's the primary focus of this channel, is watching for the King. And in doing that, we're finding quickly that we're going to face persecution. Now, the church has been under persecution since the birth of the church, since Pentecost. It has ebbed and flowed. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing persecution from the church at the church. So true believers of Jesus Christ who hold to biblical doctrine are finding quickly that other proclaiming Christians are becoming their persecutors. And that's something that we have not seen a lot of within the past few decades. We're seeing it really ramp up. And again, I point back to Charlie Kirk and what happened there, because we're seeing like these dividing lines within Christian communities, within Christian teaching, on whether or not we're following the right doctrine. So that also leads me to the rise of anti-Semitism. This extreme push right now. Again, we're seeing the wars in Israel has really pushed people all over the world to come against Israel. We're seeing that at the UN. We're seeing how they treated Netanyahu when he got up to speak. We're seeing how non-believers are looking at Israel. So now I'm wondering, as we're watching what is playing out after Charlie's murder, we're watching Christians also start to take sides somewhat against Israel. And, based on things that Candace or Tucker are saying, and this is why doctrine matters. I mean, it really, understanding why we support Israel as Christians, and it goes back to the fact that God called them out as a people. In Deuteronomy, he, in Deuteronomy 7:6-8, he basically said, for you are a people holy to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his treasured possession. All of the peoples who are on the face of the earth, out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth, it wasn't because you are more in number than any other the people that the Lord, I'm having a hard time reading this only because, anyway, I'm hearing things out in the house, and so, it's caused me to pay attention out there. Anyway, and this is why you're not going to get edits. I'm just going to be raw and open with everybody. Again, this is just kind of a reintroduction to the channel, and so I wanted to just get on for a minute and make sure that I said hi. I said thank you for being here, and that I started the process of getting back into the community, because this is where I was led to initially. And so anyway, again, if you like what's going on here, again, like, subscribe, share it. Please pray for my channel. Pray that God leads me. I don't want to be just another talking head out here. I want to be able to bring God the glory in the way he would use me. So I'm going to wrap this up now because, one, I've run out of notes. Two, it sounds like something's going on out there. And so I'm going to have to check on it, and I probably won't get back for a bit. And three, I'd like to hear from you and what you think about content, what you'd like to see me talk about, if I should consider doing live. And yeah, so that's where we'll start. Welcome back. And thanks for watching. Have a blessed day.